Good evening, social media and Facebook world. Thank you for tuning in again for another edition of Mi Gente on Air. We're going to go live in a few minutes. And I just want to, as always, invite everybody into the room to bring some feedback, some comments, questions, whatever to help make this show more inclusive of my audience. So take the time to talk with my guests, if you will. It's Jay Garcia from the Saginaw Boxing Club. And we're going to have a great time with a great show tonight to talk about what this young entrepreneur is doing in the city of Saginaw. There's so much going on with events and all, and boxing is a part of our culture as well. And so I wanted to feature somebody who was so involved in the boxing world because it has for a long time been a part of our community. From way back, I remember my uncle, Jacinto Chintaka, and he was involved with some of my friends that were boxing back in the 80s. And we had the Golden Gloves in Saginaw at the Civic Center. So I don't know how many of you remember that, but it was a great time, great memories. And we're going to talk about where boxing is going today with Jay Garcia from the Saginaw Boxing Club. So please join us as we continue on in another edition of Mi Gente on Air.
Welcome to Mi Gente on Air on 100.5 and 790 News Radio WSGW and online WSGW.com. Now, here is your host, Larry Rodarte.
Good evening, and tonight we are having another edition of Mi Gente on Air, and I'm so excited. How is everyone feeling tonight? I'm thrilled to present different individuals and their businesses and opportunities each week on this radio program. Our Latino culture is part of what makes the area diverse and special. And for years, boxing has been an integral part of our community. Who remembers the Golden Glove boxing program at the Civic Center? Many great boxers through the years have come from the Latino community, and here in Saginaw, we've had great trainers from the late Jacinto Chintaka to Juan Garcia of the Saginaw Boxing Club. On tonight's show, we have the legacy of Juan Garcia, his grandson, Jay Garcia, who is making his move in the area to take the Saginaw Boxing Club to new heights. He just purchased the former American GI Forum building to upgrade and house his club and continue to train young men and women, kids, the disciplines that come with being a great boxer. He's motivated, he has faith, and he's Saginaw's own, making it all happen. Tonight, we have Jay Garcia in the Alpha Media Studios to hear his story. Welcome, Jay, to Mi Gente on Air. So, can you tell me a little bit about yourself? Who is Jay Garcia in a nutshell?
For one, I'm a father of one. I have one daughter. Outside of being a father, I am a boxing coach who walks a lot by my faith. There's a lot of things that I do, and it's just like, you know what, I'm going to trust God with what I'm doing, and I'm just a guy that's a father who's coaching, and I do a lot of my walking by faith.
That's awesome. That's awesome to hear somebody so young. And if you don't mind, what is your age?
I am 32 years old.
Yeah, so that's young, just a baby still. You know, it's really something for me to see the generations of your family that has been involved in boxing. I remember your grandfather, Juan Garcia, who was training over there off of Holland at a building that has been knocked down since. I remember your uncle, Efren Garcia, over at the Lutheran church. They had the boxing club there as well. And there's been a number of different places that you have had it. And now you're taking that on as like a third generation. Can you tell me a little bit about how your family's history with boxing came about? And, you know, let's start at the beginning. Let's talk about your grandfather.
Well, my grandfather, he originally tried to start a softball league to kind of help with the violence in the community at that time. And then he ended up meeting up with Jack Chintaka, and from there he's just been boxing, coaching ever since then. So I pretty much grew up in a boxing family. I came out, I was born, my grandpa's call him Wello. So my Wello was coaching. My dad was fighting. And then there was me, grew up just in a fighting family, a boxing family. I grew to fight, to box. My youngest brother, he boxed. My sister would have, but my parents were like, no, she's a girl. Don't want to mess up her face. So she didn't box, but she would have. I have my other brother, Emilio. He was training to fight, but he ended up having cataracts in one of his eyes, so he didn't pass the physical. Otherwise, he would have fought as well. So I just grew up in a boxing family since I was born.
So you said your father. You didn't mention his name. Who was your father?
Joaquin Garcia, Kino,
Kino.
Big
Yes.
Kino. Yeah,
Okay.
that's my dad.
Okay.
So he's kind of he's a legend in the boxing world around here in Saginaw.
Now, I remember way back in the 80s, like we mentioned, whenever you talk about boxing, Jacinto Chentaca, my uncle, he, kind of goes with boxing. That's what people think about, at least from my generation. But I do remember also even Ernie Garza, very young, training with your grandfather, like I mentioned, at that building off of Holland Street. And Ernie was maybe 10 at the time. And your grandfather was already so involved with that boxing and training. And, that's got to be at least 20 years, maybe more than that. So, I mean, there's really a long history with Juan Garcia and his training. And he fits that mold, of a boxing trainer. And how has it been for you as his grandson?
Growing up, yeah, like I said, always being in the gym. It was days after I get out of school and he's beeping the horn outside, picking me up for the gym, picking up a couple of us, me, little James, my brothers, Ronell. There's just a lot of us. He would pick up kids throughout the neighborhood, either take us running or take us to the gym, and he kept us there.
And it's so important to have programs like the Saginaw Boxing Club, because so many times, the energy of a young youth may go the wrong way out in the streets or what have you. And so it's good to have these programs where you're teaching them discipline, you're taking up their time. How is that a part of your program? Tell me a little bit about that.
As far as like me pouring into the youth, I do they come in a lot of times with a lot of struggles that they're dealing with or a lot of issues that they're going through, and they pull me to the side a lot and they kind of vent to me or they talk to me and let me know what's going on, and I'm able to be that positive figure in a lot of these individuals' lives, whether it's younger, older. I'm able just to be that positive light into them and just let them know, I'm here with you. Everything's going to be fine. We're going to get through this together. A lot of times people, we often feel like we're walking through life alone at times, or, we don't always like to open up to our parents or to a friend or a brother or sister. So when they come to me with different problems and stuff like that, like I help them, get that out of them, whatever they're dealing with. And I just help them out in their daily life. Just like I said, let them know that they're not alone in this life. Like, I got your back. I support you. I help you. Whether they like what I say or don't like what I say, I still tell them the truth, because a lot of times also we have friends that want to just take their side right away. And I'm the type that's, nope, this is what's right. This is what's wrong. If you're right here, you're right here. If you're wrong here, I'm going to let you know, but I'm also going to let you know, like, here, I'm still here for you.
Very commendable. Very commendable. Like during the COVID pandemic, did you see a real increase with parents maybe wanting to get their kids involved, or was it, I know in the early stages of the pandemic in 2020, they were probably, no, we better stay away. But how was that during the whole time period of the pandemic?
Well, obviously in the beginning we had to close down because of the pandemic. So we were, everybody's just home, just doing whatever they're doing. We had a Facebook Messenger group when we talk. But once things started kind of getting back to normal or opening up, yes, a lot of parents were hesitant bringing their kids. So we went down in numbers. But I don't know, all the ones that were really wanting to fight, they continue to keep coming.
It was such a different time. I remember going over to the Saginaw Boxing Club because we were utilizing the kitchen there for the dinners for our elderly, for our seniors during the pandemic in those first early months, March, April, May. And I would go into the gym area where the ring was at the time. I remember, and we were actually storing, our beans and our rice and everything in the gym because there was nothing happening, with the boxing, and that saddened me. I remember I was thinking, man, we really are living in a different time, and so I'm so glad to see that you guys have rebounded. You've come back, and I want to talk about how you have recently posted where you said, "My time is finally here." Let's talk about purchasing the American GI Forum building and rebounding the Saginaw Boxing Club.
Well, me being a coach, I know you'll start there. We'll start a little bit more from the beginning. Me being a coach, I started coaching in 2019 of February, and there was a building downtown on Jefferson. And, my uncle had asked me one time, hey, you want to help coach? We need help. We got a new building. And I'm like, man, I'll check it out. My work schedule finally works good, whatever. So I went and checked it out, and I looked around. I see the kids and the young adults, and I'm like, man, like, yeah, like I want to do this. Like, I felt like I can see myself in a lot of the fighters that were there. So then I took it over. The locks were changed on me. I had no reason why. Like, I had no explanation. I went to open up the doors one day, and the locks were changed. And so, we started training at Hoyt Park, Ojibwe Island, and then we recently cleaned out my garage. And so we went out, in my garage, and then it was getting colder. Parents are coming to me and they're like, Jay, it's getting cold. What are we going to do? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, I'm not sure what we're going to do. Like, I got to trust God. Like, he's going to make something happen for us. And then I was bouncing from church to church. I went to Pastor Augie's church. And after service one day, he's like, hey, before everybody leaves, Jay, I'd like for you to use the basement as your gym. I know it's getting cold if you want to use the basement. And I'm just like, wow, like, I don't even come to this church, but yet the pastor still opened up his door for a whole boxing gym to run downstairs. And so we was there from November of 2019 all the way till July of 2022. But when I say like my time is finally here, because it's like, I finally, like, Saginaw Boxing Club, we've been renting from other people for so long. And now it's like, that door's been open for me to be like, we have a home, like we have a place, like our time is here. Like, we have something for us now where we can stay, and we don't have to worry about locks being changed like they were changed on me when I first started coaching, or we don't have to worry about ceilings being too low and some guys can't jump rope, or service. The pastor has a service, and pastor was always good, but out of respect for him, like if he had a Wednesday night service, I would close the gym just so he can, you know what I mean, for the church.
Right.
And like having my own now, it's just like, man, like we're here now. It's just a great feeling to know where I came from, what I went through, to like now we're here. So that's why I say like our time is finally here.
Wow, that's beautiful. That's a beautiful story, and I know that I'm so happy to see that you've purchased the American GI Forum building, because as we were talking before the show, that is a historical building in our area within our Latino community history, and so it's nice to see that it's not going to just be soon knocked down like many historical buildings, and that you're actually utilizing it for the betterment of our community at large. So that's wonderful to see. Jonathan, we've got a few comments from some listeners, viewers. Can you read those for me?
Yeah, we've got Val Blanco says, Saginaw needs more young men like him. I don't know him personally, but I know his tias and tios. I see the things he's doing as a father and with the boxing club. Definitely a great role model for the younger generation. Also, we have Alberto Pido Garcia, who says, Saginaw Boxing Club, congratulations, Jay.
Uncle P.
Mm-hmm.
And Terry Reed says, a great man and a great role model for the community. Proud of you, Jay.
And Chuck Medell there, he's saying, congrats, Jay, proud of you, bro. So you've got a number of people who are backing you. And I think that's one of the things I wanted to ask was, are you finding that there's a lot of support right now? Are there people who are stepping up and supporting the Saginaw Boxing Club?
Yes. Family wise, I have a lot of people in my family that are there every day, almost every day. helping me get the hall cleaned out, get some of the rooms cleaned out, help me get some, our bags and our equipment in the upstairs. So I have a lot of support as far as that goes. And then I randomly get like messages from other people in the community just saying, they're proud of me, keep going. We support you. So I feel like I have, yes, a lot of support around Saginaw, whether it's physical or whether somebody's praying for me or somebody just encouraging me. I feel like, yes, I have a lot of support.
Yeah, and it's tough when you have a building like that. And I'm talking from experience of the Union Civic Americana, that's an old historical building as well. And there's upkeep constantly. So, my advice to you is that, you're going to have a lot of upkeep on that building. And from time to time, you've got to take care of it. And so find the people who can help you with that endeavor, because it really is something for you to anticipate, because it happens. And I'm just saying that. I mean, it seems like, especially during the winter months, you can go from, a heater going down and then pipes freezing. We remember the winter vortex we had a few years ago. The Civica had 42 pipes that busted during that
Wow.
time. It was horrible. And so, with old buildings, that just comes with the territory. So, but congratulations, you're young, you can still do this. And, I'm proud to say that the boxing club's going to continue within the American GI Forum building. Are you calling it a different building? Is it now just the Saginaw Boxing Club building, or what are we doing with that?
I'll be giving it a new name. I kind of want to, well, it's a GI Forum, but I'm gonna move away from the name of the GI Forum building. We started off at the Trinity building that you were mentioning on Holland.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm kind of like, I want to go towards like the new Trinity or something that kind of relates to that, because when I started fighting, it was at that building on Trinity. The Trinity building is what we called it when the Saginaw Boxing Club was training out of the Trinity building. So a lot of people say, dang, I remember boxing over there at Trinity. So for me, being new, taking it over, I want that feel to be like, oh, we're gonna go to the new Trinity now, to where everything's updated, brand new. So I kind of think I'm gonna change it to the new Trinity building or something along those lines.
Yeah. Okay. And we got Claudia Delgado. I think that's Pastor's wife. She says, "Congrats, Jay. You're going to do great things in this community." And I know Claudia helped us with those the meals to our seniors when we were over there doing that during the COVID pandemic. And so it's great to see that you're connected with her and Pastor Augie Delgado, because they're with New Beginnings Church over in Hess, and they're a great asset to our community as well. And Bianca Spearman, she says, "One of the best men you will ever meet. You are amazing, Jay." So, wow, you're getting some good comments here. So I guess the comments are working pretty good today, and we got a great following watching. I see 20 people in the room. What is the thrill for you, Jay, when you see young teens or kids coming to you to train and maybe seeing that you're making a difference in their lives?
It goes two ways, or more than one way. One of the thrills to me is, like I said, a lot of people come in and they're battling something, whether it's depression or they have addictions or something. They're battling something, and then you can see the progress from the gym, from me coaching them, talking to them about their daily life, or even just coaching them as far as boxing wise. You can see their mentality change, their demeanor change. You can just see a whole character change out of them as they continue. So that's a thrill for me to see, just, how they come in before to how they leave, months later. And then also like kids who come in, and I got one fighter, and his name's Tyrone. We call him Trey, and he's new, where he's been fighting for a year now. So when he came in, he had no fight experience. His dad was like, man, we're just going to give it a try. He would walk in the gym, his knees would touch when he walks, and we put gloves on him, and I take him on the mitts, and his dad was like, man, I don't know if he got it. And I'm like, man, no, we got this. Like, let's just work with him. And he's one of my best fighters now. He's 10 years old now, and he's 5 wins, 3 losses. He should be, well, it's 7-1 maybe, but he's 5 wins, 3 losses. And he's just like, man, I just want to fight. So seeing that change also from like, man, look at this kid before, and I look at him now, just all the hard work he put in. So I see, from both sides, from a character change and then a development change as far as their boxing skills.
Yeah, confidence building. I mean, that's always important for anybody, but especially with our young people today. And I love the idea that you're helping in that regard, because it's too easily they get caught up in things that aren't too good for them, or just playing video games.
Mhm.
And it's nice to see that you're taking them under the wing and you're showing them discipline. I mean, that's what's I think is very important. So many times I don't feel sometimes that the younger generation has the respect, if you will, for their elderly, and I think that's always a big discipline to have, with our community, with our young people, is make sure you respect your elders. You hear me, John? No, I'm just kidding. But that is important, and I think that what boxing will do for any young person is give them disciplinary measures in their life to help them to succeed when maybe times are tough, down the road as they grow older. And I've seen that. I've just seen that with some of my friends. Like I said, back in the 80s, I'm talking Mike Leal, Rudy Rodriguez, Ernie Garza, the dad, not the son. These are young men that were, 16, 17-year-olds, right at the time I was. And, they could have really gone a different way. And we were from Bridgeport, and, they were involved with my Uncle Jack and the Plantation Bar Boxing Club. I think that's what he called it at the time. And he taught them some great lessons in life. And I seen it with my own eyes being very young. And so I know what boxing can do. And like I said in the beginning of this program, this is part of what our culture, just like the lowriders, just like the ballet folklorico, boxing is a discipline, that young people can get involved with and learn. And so, hats off to you, Jay, for what you're doing, because it's so important. And you're following a great legacy within your family. Sabrina Duran, she says, congratulations. You have created something wonderful for our community. Did I read that one already? I think I did. No? Okay. And then Dolores Vasquez Cameron, she says, congratulations. And that's, we call her Cassell. She's always leaving comments every week to week. So she's a great supporter and listener of Mi Gente on Air. Was there any other comments that we may have missed on there? I'm seeing great feedback, though. This is wonderful that the community is being involved. If you have a question for Jay, please put it in the room. We've got over 22 viewers right now in the room. And so it's wonderful to see that. Who has been truly, your role models? I know you mentioned your grandfather, Juan Garcia, your uncles, you come from the family. If they are who have been your role models, you can mention them. But I also want to know, like, maybe was there a boxer that you maybe had idolized, or who were your role models?
I'm not really sure as far as like role models. There's boxers that I like to watch.
Influencers, I'll say.
But I think the more and more I hang out with my Wello, the more I'm inspired by him, the more I want to work hard for him. And like, he's deserving of so much and he gets so little credit. And so I try to work so hard because I know all the time that he's put in so much time with so many fighters. So many guys turned their backs on him, turned away from him. So he should have had a lot. And to see he's 80 years old, he puts on his concrete boots and he's got to go pour concrete and he's got to go work, hard labor work. That motivates me because I know, like, man, all the time my grandfather put into these people, like, he should have a lot more than what he has. So I feel like he deserves it. And so he motivates me. Like, I feel like I gotta make it work for him. And I also know, like, that's why it's been put into my life for a reason. Like, God's put me in this family for a reason. I feel like there's one person in every family that is born to change the legacy, or is born to change the generations of the future families that come, whether it's my own family or whether it's the next family. And I feel like that's my calling. That's my place. is to change the generations of not only my family, but those that come into my gym. And I know he's going to use, when I say he, I know, God's going to use boxing for me to get that to the next people, whoever it is that I come in contact with.
Nicely said. Nicely said. That's really, inspiring to hear. And you're right. Your grandfather has been a big part of this community for so many years. And yeah, I didn't know he was already 81 years old. I mean, to me, I've seen him a long time, but you don't realize how much time goes by sometimes. And I think that's something that everybody kind of feels, especially post pandemic. It seems like time is just flying. We'll be back in a moment. We're going to talk more with Jay Garcia from the Saginaw Boxing Club. We're going to go into commercial, and we'll be back right here on Mi Gente on Air.
You're listening to Mi Gente on Air on WSGW.
So thank you for being in the room and contributing. We got a lot of contributions, a lot of comments tonight, and a good following on the live feed. So thank you so much, and spread the word. Something's going positive in Saginaw, and that's the Saginaw Boxing Club. It's wonderful to see any individual who takes the time out of his life to mentor and to train and to spread discipline to young people. And we need so much more of that. We all know this. And so, give the support to the Saginaw Boxing Club, because Jay here is doing great things, and he comes from a long line of boxing experience with his father, his grandfather. It's wonderful to see the generations of family boxing that we're seeing with the Garcia family here in Saginaw. So we're going to go back into the show. If you got more comments or any questions, feel free, because Mi Gente on Air is for you, my people. Mi Gente, that's what it means, on air. And here we are. So let's go back into Mi Gente on Air, the show.
This is Mi Gente on Air on WSGW.
Welcome back. Welcome back to Mi Gente on Air. Thank you for being with us tonight as we continue to highlight Latino culture, Latino contributions, and Latino concerns. And boxing definitely is a contribution to the Latino community and the greater community at large. And I'm so glad to be sitting here with Jay Garcia from the Saginaw Boxing Club as he steps into the entrepreneurial part of the boxing club by purchasing a building, the former American GI Forum building. And what has it been for you, Jay, to go in there and actually, do the hard work of scraping? I seen you scraping the floors on a post, and I seen you painting. I mean, that is really inspiring, because it takes, somebody who's got the gumption to know what he has there in that building.
It's been a roller coaster. It's been fun, but it's been times where, you're still there by yourself sometimes. But I'm there with my daughter. One of those videos where we were doing the bathroom, and I'm spraying power washing the floors, and then she wants, I want to give it a try, and so she power washes the floors, and it's pretty cool. I get more bonding time with her when she comes with me to the gym. And then a lot of times too, or not a lot, but when I am there by myself, and I'm just praying over the building, and I'm telling myself, like, this is my dream, this is my passion, this is my goal, this is what's I was blessed with. So I got to expect myself to do this. And so I motivate myself to do whatever I have to do at the building, whether it's hanging up bags, putting in the walls, cleaning the floors, toilets, anything. So it's been a roller coaster. We had a lot of people some days, and I'm like, man, there's too many people to tell them what to do right now. And then other days it's just me, and it's just like, man, peace and quiet, just do what I can do, and go have fun.
Well, the biggest advice I can give to you is don't give up, no matter what. Don't give up. Keep moving forward. Adelante. That's part of what I feel has been so important for anybody who has taken on a gym like you and what you're doing. I want to talk a little bit about what your past has been, because it's important where you were to know where you're going now. And we featured you in the latest edition of Mi Gente, the magazine. And I was so inspired by just a post that you did maybe a few weeks ago. And if you don't mind, I'm going to read just a few of the words from that post. And you can see that in the latest issue of Mi Gente if you pick it up. You started out and you said, I was once living for all the wrong reasons, the wrong things. I was at the parties. I used to smoke. I was always fighting. I was a knucklehead. I've been jumped and shot at. It took for me to have a daughter, for me to surrender my life and give it to God. He restored me. He saved me. He set me free. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. Growing up, I had obviously both my parents in my life, and they were always there for me. Um, but you still hang around your friends. You still have, you're disobedient to your parents, especially when you're younger. You want to do your own thing, so you go out and you hang with your friends. Me and my brother, some cousins, neighborhood friends. We just go out and we were knuckleheads. We were, like you said, we was always at the parties. In high school, we were at parties. We were always getting in trouble. A lot of times we probably should be in jail and don't know how, like, cops weren't around at times. And there was a time where it's me and a friend of mine's and my brother in the back, and we're getting ready to go into a party, and then they shoot our way because they know our car, and the bullet hits the windshield and flickers up. And a lot of times a lot of fights that we've been in, and a lot of times I got jumped, or me and my brother been in fights, street fights, just everything. It's just everything you could have named, done. I want to say everything you could have done as, a teenage growing up in Saginaw, but we were a victim of our environment. And that's what I fell, victim to, was a product of my environment. And when I say, it took for me to have a daughter, is because, when I found out I was having a girl, I looked at myself, and I'm a firm believer in your kids grow up to meet somebody like them. So I'm like, if my daughter's going to meet a guy like me, I need to be the best version of myself. And so I decided, you know what? I don't want her to meet a knucklehead like I was. I'm going to have to change my life, change my ways. And that's when I kind of got on my knees. I found God. I found a church. And I just surrendered my life over to God. And then slowly but surely, every day you're still going to fall short. Every day you're going to sin. Every day you're going to do bad. You're going to do wrong. But you just keep going. You fight the good fight. Nobody's perfect. We go to heaven because of everything Jesus did on the cross and nothing that we're doing. So I just know that, for me, I had to be the best version of myself. And so, like I said, I surrendered my life to Christ. And since then, like, doors just been opening and things changed for me. And I'm at where I'm at now. It's like everything is good. Like, I'm happy. Like, for once, I feel like I'm happy with how my life is, and I don't have to fake it.
That's a beautiful testimony, Jay, really. And part of what you posted that day as well, you said, boxing is my ministry. I'm walking in my purpose, and God is using my gym to change lives. Although not everyone is meant to be a world champion, I know for sure God will make our fighters world champions. We're all winners. So, I mean, that's just really profound. It's amazing that at such a young age, that you're kind of finding your way. And like you said, we all go on, we all make mistakes, but if you're leading that right path in life, God's going to be there for you. He's not going to let you fall. And so, I really commend you for what you have done and what you're doing, because you're showing a lot of people in our community, and I'm talking the Latino community right now, what can be done. Not only are you're so involved with the youth, and you're working hard to fulfill your dream, your ministry, but you're a businessman now. You're taking on a task of making sure you're paying the bills, making sure, you're setting that building up for success for everybody. And you come there. How does that make you feel as a young man here in the city of Saginaw to take on that type of responsibility? And what has been the outcome for you so far?
It feels good, being so young being from, like I said, how I grew up and how I've changed mentally. I've talked with people who've talked to me years ago and then talked to me now, and they're just like, man, like, who are you? Like, you've grown so much since I've known you. And like, I always put everybody before me. I'm always helping out everywhere that I can. And with the building, there's those other rooms in there. And I know there's so much potential in Saginaw as far as small businesses, or I don't even want to call it small businesses, but there's just so much potential in Saginaw with businesses. And they, like, we all need help some kind of way. And I feel like the building is perfect because with those classrooms or those rooms that are there, I'm able to help that next business that is looking to get a start somewhere. Um, they can rent out one of the rooms from me, one of the classrooms from me, to help learn how to budget or learn how to pay for their expenses so it can be affordable for them so that they can also purchase their own building and they can expand. So for me, it's bigger than boxing because I'm able to help outside of the gym. I'm able to help those other businesses that are looking for a place to get started, or they're looking for whether they cut hair and they would need a place to cut hair at. Now we can open up a barbershop there, and the one guy can run the shop, and he can get his people in there, or whoever's licensed in there, or just anything, like whoever's trying to grow their business. I feel like the new building is a place where that can be grown at.
And you recently had a fundraising event where you were kind of doing a rummage sale, which I noticed. And then I noticed also Wella's Kitchen. Gabriel Ramirez was out there. We had him on the show a few weeks ago, and they were selling their tacos, and they're going to be a part of the Saginaw Taco Fest. We're going to throw that in there again on this show as well. But, it's so nice to see the collaboration between young Latinos in our community. It hasn't always been that way. And I love to see that more and more I see it happening where there's that collaboration, that partnership. And tell me a little bit about that and what you have seen at the age of 32.
Well, Mike and Wella's Kitchen, they helped me a lot. They gave me a lot of ideas. Mike is my brother-in-law, so they own Wella's Kitchen. And like, I was over at his house picking up my daughter, and it was probably close to midnight, and me and Mike were talking, and he's like, bro, like, this Saturday, let's run a rummage sale out of there, and we can do this. And I'm like, but I got a tournament this week and I can't. He's like, no, we'll take care of it for you. Like, let us do it. We want to help you out. And so, Mike's always helped me. Wella's Kitchen, they back me up for the Golden Gloves. Robbie D's helped me with the Golden Gloves as well. But they're always just helping me out, giving me ideas, helping me plan stuff. They're, Wella's Kitchen, they're a big support. And a lot of the stuff that I do for the boxing gym.
And now Wella's Kitchen, like I mentioned, is going to be part of the Saginaw Taco Fest, and working with the Unión Cívica Mexicana. They've come to our Cinco de Mayo and have participated in that as well. And I just want to mention, we have picked up some other vendors from the Flint area as well as from the Detroit area, Tortas Express, and the taco vendors that has a food truck in Flint. I can't remember their name offhand. I thought I sent you the updated version of the Taco Fest, but it's wonderful to see now. We've got 8 vendors that are food vendors that are making authentic tacos. They're getting away from the hard shell tacos, which everybody's kind of known, but the real authentic tacos are not the hard shell tacos. That's more of a kind of a Tex-Mex taco. And so you're going to have some really good vendors there as well. And I think everybody's going to be in for a great surprise with this event with the Saginaw Taco Fest. And we really want to spread the word on that. It's only like 3 weeks away. But I want Jonathan, my producer, to read some of the comments because there's a whole bunch coming in. I think they're real important. And I think Sabrina Duran is one of the ones where you can read from, and make sure you get Daniel Estrada's comment in there as well.
Oh yeah, there's a bunch all kind of in the same vein here. Sabrina Duran says, Mr. Garcia, you're a great mentor and role model for the younger generations to come. You have already made a great positive impact. And Daniel Estrada says, keep up all your hard work. These young people need all of the positive outlets possible. Thanks for your work.
And I got to mention Daniel Estrada. He's the principal over there at the Ruben Daniels school. I think that's what they call it still. So he kind of knows, the importance and the essence of, having mentors for our young people.
And kind of also in that same vein, Josie Salazar says, Jay, I have seen how your mentoring has been a positive impact in my grandson, Victor Cuevas.
My
Did I have
son.
that right?
Cuevas.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, we've got Go Wellas and Jay, bring your boxing club to the Taco Fest from
They got to lose
Dolores.
weight.
Yeah, Val Blanco also says, let's get him and his club into the Taco Fest. Can they make tacos? But seriously, get them involved somehow. Good publicity to the township. And my cousin, who apparently is your cousin, says, my cousin is doing great things. Blessings to him. That's Juan Felipe Delgado.
Mm-hmm.
So, wow, we're all connected somehow. I didn't know
Somehow.
that he was related to you, and I'm related to Phil. And, it's obvious that you're getting a lot of support. There's a lot of young and older generation of people who are supporting this endeavor because we know how important that is for our community. And I know one thing that has always, intrigued me is, how does somebody live a life where you're continually in that boxing mold? And because it's difficult, you've got to train and you've got to train others. And I know when I was involved in sports at Bridgeport, I played football and I played basketball, and after school practice can be difficult when you got a full plate on in your school curriculum and all. How has that been for you? Because obviously you got to have a real passion for it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what has motivated you. How has that been for you, and how has that passion been for boxing?
It's been good. I think what helps me is knowing that I still have a lot to learn. So that just keeps me to want to keep going because I know I don't know it all yet as far as boxing. I don't know it all running a business, or I don't know it all. So that helps me to want to keep going. Like I said, looking at the fighters in my gym, seeing them. I got one fighter, Avery. He moved back to Saginaw from Cadillac, and he's another fighter. Like he inspires me a lot because he came back to Saginaw with nothing, a bag of clothes when I picked him up, and he's like, I know I don't know you right now, but like I just want to fight with you. I want to train with you. I want to get better. I hear you can help. And he's like, I just want to get better. So, getting fighters like that in the gym, like it pushes me and it makes me want to continue. It makes me want to be a better coach. It makes me want to learn more, just so I can help somebody like Avery get to that next level to where he needs to be, so he can change that for his generations, for his kids, and then his kids. And so just seeing that, it just helps me to not get tired of boxing or not feel like, man, I do this too much. Like yesterday I was at the gym, it was 9:00, 9:30. And I'm like, dang, I didn't even know it was this late. I got to work tomorrow. I should probably get going home. And there's me and one other fighter, or me and two other fighters at the gym. And it's just like, hey, I think we should start wrapping this up. So, we were just there, and it's just like, man, I don't get tired of being at the gym, or I don't get tired of learning what I love to do, or learning what is in front of me as far as, boxing and how boxing goes.
And that's amazing. You have a full-time job on top of this endeavor with the boxing club. I mean, that really takes a lot of discipline within yourself as well, as the leader, as the head coach of Saginaw Boxing Club. And Crystal Gomez on here, she says, such a powerful testimony, very inspiring, because that's what it is. Your example is a testimony, and it's so strong because you have the passion, like we've talked about. But what's key in that, I think, is your faith.
Mm-hmm.
Your faith that you have, gained along the way. And you talk about where you've been, but that faith is really strong, and that's inspiring for 32 years of age. And so, Raymond Torres the third, I know him. He also helped with the meals. That's where I met him, with Pastor Augie Delgado. He says, yes, sir, my brother, a big role model in the community. And Pastor says, thank you so much for what you do. Jay, fire attracts fire. So that's really nice. So, when we talk about the testimony and we talk about your family history, what is your grandfather has to say? I know you get emotional when you talk about him, earlier on the program and all. What has he said to you?
He's in awe. He's kind of nervous. He's kind of scared for me. He's happy for me, excited for me. He's everything, every emotion you can think of. He's that. But it's been good to see him. You know, he comes in and he just eyes wide open sometimes when he looks to see what we do, or it's just a great feeling to see my Wello just look. And it's times he tells me like, man, Jay, like this is gonna be hard. Like, aren't you afraid of this, or aren't you afraid of that? And I'm like, Wello, no. Like, this is me. Like, this is my calling. This is my purpose. I said, I'm not gonna run from the situation or run from the mountain that's in front of me. Like, I'm gonna climb it, and we're gonna keep on going, and we're gonna make this work because this is what God's given me. And Pastor Augie always says, and it helps me all the time, like if it's from God, it's got to go. Like, it's got to work. He's gonna, he has to make it work. That's his promise. So I hold that close to my heart. Like, I know this is from God, and he's gonna make it work. So
It's gonna work.
it's gonna work.
Definitely.
I don't have no doubts.
When we featured you in Mi Gente magazine, you were with a young boxer there, and I believe she's my cousin Tony Hernandez's daughter.
Yep.
We're, like I said, we're all related. Nadia is her
Nadia,
name?
yeah.
And
She's a beast.
how has it been, for female boxers in the boxing club?
Female boxing it's on the rise. My first female boxer was Phoenix Brownfield when I started coaching in 2019. So she was, the first one, and me being a girl dad, I kind of, adapt, or I stick to the younger girl fighters a lot. So Phoenix was my first, girl fighter who fought for me. She's 2-2. She plays basketball now, so she don't fight, but we contact each other all the time. But Nadia came in the gym, and like her first week, she's like, "Hey, can I go to competition class? Like, I want to fight." And I'm like, "Girl, like, no, like, it's your first week." I said, let's learn the basics. Let's learn. And her dad's calling me like, "Hey, Jay, she keeps asking me, what can I do? What size bag do I buy her? Like, what do I do for her? She just wants to go." And so, I'm giving him stuff to do, and she's just every day, coach, can I train for competition? Coach. So I'm like, all right, come Monday and let's see what you got. So she's like, she works in the gym. She works hard. She's got a development bout, and she won the best fighter in that division. I took her to a fight in Florida, a tournament in Florida. Her opponents didn't show up, so she won that division by default. And I'm telling her, like, she was mad. She's like, "Man, I don't feel like I deserve this belt because I didn't get to fight for it, and it's just given to me." And I had to tell her, like, "No, girl, like, you won that belt when you was in the basement at the gym, putting in those hours, when you was hitting that bag, and when you were sparring and you didn't want to spar and your teeth were falling out and you were bloodied and you were still sparring." I said, "You won that belt when you was back home." I said, "Getting it here," I said, "this is just assurance of what you did paid off." And she just recently fought again back in June, and she fought a girl that was 10 pounds heavier than her, is 2 years older, which is still within the range, the limits. And she fought her, and like she tore the girl up. And I'm just like, she comes to me after she wins her fight, and she just runs to me in the corner and she gives me a hug, and I'm just like, man, it's just a good feeling for a girl. And like I said, I think for me, being a girl dad, having a daughter, being able to relate to the younger girls that come in like that, it's just, I feel like they're my kids. And I'm just like, man, my girl just won. Like, yes, like and she's fired up about it.
Well, if any parent out there has a child that may need some help or whatever, with being maybe some discipline or just being motivated or what have you, tell them, Jay, how to get involved with the Saginaw Boxing Club.
Right now you can either add my Facebook page is Jay Garcia, or our boxing page, which is Saginaw Boxing Club. We'll be starting a beginner's class. We'll be starting an adult fitness class, and then a competition class. So right now we're still setting up. We're in the process of setting up the new gym over there on Oak Street, which is the OGI Foreign building. Mm-hmm. I'll have when we're officially set up, I'll have something that shows, we're set up. And then it's really just contact me, find me on Facebook, contact one of my fighters, show up at the gym, and we can just have you, sign your papers, your registration form, your waiver forms, and we can get you started.
And so when you say Saginaw, I mean, like an adult fitness class, they're like doing weightlifting, or are they doing exercising? What are they doing?
It's a boxing fitness class for adults. So we'll be doing a lot of boxing workouts, a lot of cardio, a lot of high intensity workouts. It's going to be for an hour long. So we'll do a lot of high intensity workouts. Probably not too many weights. But we're just gonna get the blood pressure growing and just do a lot of workouts that our fighters would do for the adult fitness class. That way they can kind of get the idea of like, dang, boxers really got to do all this to stay in shape, and it helps them. It'll boost their egos and help them out as well.
Well, I want to mention this comment here. Josie Guerra Salazar. She says, Jay, I have seen how your mentoring has been a positive impact on my grandson, Victor Cuevas. So that's really, did you read that one? Okay, you read that one. So, there's so many comments tonight. Also, Joanne Vasquez says he has a faithful grandparents and parents to support him. Thank you for that comment, Joanne. And Jacob Delgado says, proud of you, bro. True definition of a leader. So we got a minute before we end the program here. Just tell me a little bit, what's next for the Saginaw Boxing Club?
We have a show coming up October 29th. It's going to be at the new building, 604 Hancock. It'll start at 2 p.m. So that's what's next for Saginaw Boxing Club. We're cleaning up. We're getting things set up for the gym to open up. We're going to start collecting rosters from other gyms across the United States. Early last time we had teams from Texas coming in. So our boxing show, October 29th, which is a Saturday, Halloween weekend, is the next event for us here in Saginaw.
Well, thank you so much, Jay Garcia. It's been a pleasure tonight. It went pretty fast, didn't it?
Yeah,
but it's just so awesome for for my community, Mi Gente on air, to see you doing such great things. And I just want to wish you continued success and blessings your way. So thank you so much, everybody, for listening again. We'll see you next week here on Mi Gente on air. Hasta luego, everyone. Thank you, Jay. So there you have it. A great show tonight with a young entrepreneur from Saginaw, Jay Garcia. So many times, we feature different individuals in the community, and I know that sometimes it can be difficult to come on to this show, but we try to give the platform to everybody. And I know that we've gotten requests from other individuals, but Jay, tell me what it was like for you to be on Mi Gente on air tonight.
It was nice. It was different. It was new, but after a while, you just kind of, you get in your groove and it just flows. It's a great time. It was fun. I enjoyed it. It was different, but I think I'm going to have to get used to something like this because I can see myself going far with this.
Well, I want to apologize to Jay because he said to me at one point that he had reached out to me before, and I somehow missed that message. And one of the things I think that has happened with me, with Mi Gente, is that there's kind of now a generational shift. And I've worked with his grandfather, I've worked with his uncle, and those are the individuals I remember specifically. And so sometimes when you're in a room with people, or maybe I've been in the room with you, whatever, and the younger people I don't pay attention to, right? I mean, it's just kind of a generational thing. And I'm seeing that more and more, like even Gabriel Ramirez, who I've worked with at the Cinco de Mayo, he's been a vendor in the past and all. And I'm like, man, I don't know if I've talked to this guy before, so maybe it's part of my aging, my memory, what have you. But I just want to apologize because I've never tried to avoid you or anything like that. But I think it's awesome what you're doing. And I said, man, when you said my time has come, I'm like, man, I got to hit up this guy. This is a great story, because I realized that this was a third generation of the Garcia family. Yeah. And I'm so familiar with your grandfather, and I respect him wholeheartedly. So, we had some really good response in the room tonight. We've still got 23 people watching. What do you think, Jonathan, of all this? Because I got to give my producer the time, the air here.
Well, I just wanted to say you can't remember younger people's faces, but you're telling me you got to respect your elders, John.
Yeah,
that's what was coming to mind there. No, I think it's a great thing. In terms of the stream, I know that's a little bit superficial, but I think we had the most interaction that we've had in a long time
Yeah.
at the very least. So it was really nice to see that, and I think it was a great conversation and very, very interesting stuff. And I'm can't wait to see. We might have to have you back once
Yeah.
things start moving a lot more.
Yeah.
Well, definitely. And somehow, like Val Blanco said, we got to get you involved in the Taco Fest because so much it's just growing more and more. And that's why we had to move it from the Union Civica, because we just didn't have the capacity to hold what the interest was telling us, the parking and all. And thank God, Sarah Saginaw, Elvis Mackel, offered their facility to us to have the Taco Fest. And I think it's going to, be something that is definitely going to grow as we go and continue. And so also, I just want to mention Claudia Delgado. I know they've given you great support, Pastor and his wife, and she says, way to go. So thank you for the comments, Claudia and Val Blanco and all those that have been in this room. Jonathan?
Well, if you guys do come to the Taco Fest, you're just going to have to be ready for the whole club to move up a weight class. So maybe have that prepared beforehand.
I tell them if they want to eat, they better go run a couple miles before they decide how much they want to eat.
Well, we welcome you wholeheartedly. And, I love to see young people involved in our community, and that's what you're doing. So it's a wonderful thing all around. So everybody, thank you so much again. We've had great participation from the audience tonight, and it's important because that's what Mi Gente on Air is about. It's a show. It's not just my show. It's a show for our community. It gives us a platform, a voice. And remember, the show will be on Sunday evenings at 8 p.m. on 100.5 FM and 790 AM simultaneously on WSGW. So again, I'm signing off. Hasta luego. Thank you so much for participating and being a part of Mi Gente on Air.